Alright, welcome back to WMMA now with your host Chuck Stevenson. Today I want to talk about crazy submission. So, there's several different ways to finish a fight, but for me, my personal favorite way to watch someone finish a fight is submission. Yeah, knockouts are great. They're phenomenal. I'm never going to be disappointed by a knockout. But there's got to be something about someone wrapping up, choking on, twisting a limb. It's just something special about it. I mean, I think you could ask just about any fighter, and sure, some will say they prefer to win by knockout, but I think a lot of them will say that there's definitely something to making your opponent, tap out, say stop, or I quit, or I can't take this anymore. There's just something primal about controlling or doing something to your opponent that hurts them so bad that makes them say, uncle. I think there's just something special about that. And that's why submissions for me are honestly my favorite way to finish a fight, or that I like to watch. So this list is going to be based on the 5 craziest submissions in women's mixed martial arts history. Some of these are going to be uncommon. Most of these are uncommon. I'd say 4 or 5 of them are uncommon. Some of them are just, it was the way that they were applied or how the fight was going itself. A couple of them were just crazy situations. All of them can easily apply in different ways to being an absolutely crazy submission. So let's get down to it. We'll go from highest to lowest, lowest being the craziest one. Starting at number 5. Number 5, Michelle Waterson defeated Jessica Penne at Invicta FC number 5. This was a title fight. It was a back and forth fight the entire way. Penne was up around, then Michelle took around, then Penne was up around. And then it looked like Jessica Penne was going to take the 4th round as well. She had a deep armbar on Michelle Waterson in the 3rd that a lot of people were like, wow, Michelle must be made of rubber or something. And then it looked like Jessica Penne was going to take control of the 4th round as well. And then out of nowhere, Michelle Waterson slaps on an armbar so fast, Jessica Penne is forced to tap at 2 minutes and 31 seconds, again of the 4th round. Michelle Waterson becomes the 2nd Invicta FC atomweight champion and number 1 atomweight in the world. This qualified for crazy just based on how that entire fight itself was crazy. It was an absolutely great fight, monster of a fight, and just a monster of a submission to pull it. It seemingly came out of nowhere. It was so fast. Didn't seem nearly as deep as the armbar that Penne had on Waterson, but again, that's just the fight game for you. Number 4, Alyse Anderson defeats Stephanie Alba at Invicta FC number 30. Anderson was ahead probably after the 1st round pretty comfortably. Her corner told her, hey, go out and do whatever feels comfortable to you. She's clinched up with Alba up against the cage. Kind of has her back to the cage. She jumps up, latches on the beginnings of a triangle. Alba follows her to the cage, follows her to the ground, and Anderson, finishes, completely locks in the triangle. It is so tight that Alba passes out. Referee stops it at 3 minutes and 12 seconds of the 2nd round, giving Anderson the win by submission due to flying triangle. So the reason I included this is pretty obvious. It's not every day you get to see a flying triangle submission. I mean, some would say that it wasn't completely a flying triangle because she didn't completely lock it on in the air. It was like 3/4 locked on, at least. But it was pretty crazy to watch, especially from someone who's relatively new to the sport. Which moves us to number 3. Marloes Coenen defeated Becky Levi at the Remix World Cup in 2000. So we're going back to the beginnings of the women's divisions here. In fact, there wasn't even weight divisions at the time. This was an open weight tournament in the year 2000. Becky Levi at least 1.5 times Marloes Coenen's size. Becky Levi was actually the strength and conditioning coach, I believe, of Dawn Fry at the time, and she was being coached by Dan Severn. In this fight, Coenen and Levi are clinched up in the center of the ring. Coenen suddenly leaps up, latches onto the arm of Becky Levi, bringing her down to the mat, belly down, flying armbar. Levi screams out in pain, submitting at 1 minute and 25 seconds of the first round. So we're talking a submission, a crazy flying submission from way back in the beginning of the sport. This was the second round of the single day Remix World Cup 2000, and this submission earned Marloes Coenen the nickname Rumina after the legendary Shudo fighter Rumina Sato, who was known for flying arm bars at the turn of the millennium. So which moves us to number 2, Angela Lee versus Natalie Gonzales Hills. One championship, Pride of Lions. Angela Lee was getting beat up on the feet by Natalie Gonzales Hills. Hills was taking it to her, landing some thudding punches and kicks. Then Hills, for some reason, snapped down Angela and decided to follow her to the ground. That was a big mistake. It was less than halfway into the second round. There's a little over a minute into the first round, rather. That was it for Hills from there. Lee took over, started getting mount, back mount, landed some ground and pound. Hills turned her back. Lee latched on, had one hook in, and then she wrapped her other leg around the same leg as her left one, which was, I believe it was Hills' left leg. Turned her over, latched on the twister, cranked it. Hills had no choice but to tap out on the mat, giving Angela Lee the win by twister at 2 minutes and 24 seconds of the first round. Still a rare submission in MMA to this day, and the first twister executed by a female fighter as far as I know. And this was only Angela Lee's third fight. Her nickname was already, I believe, Unstoppable by that time. A couple people also started calling her the Twister Sister. An amazing submission by a young fighter. I think Lee was only 18 or 19 at the time. So definitely crazy submission. That's why it's number 2. And then finally at number 1, Jenny Juan versus April Orsini. One championship, Age of Domination. Pretty interesting fight here. The second round, this was in the second round. These two were acting a little bit timid to the point that the referee came in and warned them, hey, you need some more action. So they started getting a little more active. And then Juan executes a throw on Orsini, gets her to the ground. Some scrambles there. One scramble by Orsini kind of hurt her a little bit. Juan goes for the omoplata, but then she ends up twisting her leg under the chin of April Orsini and then moves her body around. So it kind of looks like she's going for a triangle, but what you don't realize is that with the leg, instead of being over the head, it is now underneath the chin and neck of April Orsini. She starts squeezing down on the head with her hands, applying pressure between her instep and her hands, forcing April Orsini to tap out to go plata at 4 minutes and 28 seconds of the second round. First go plata by a female in MMA. Probably only the second or third go plata in MMA, period. This earns Jenny Huang the nickname Lady Go-Go. So far, unfortunately, it was her last win. She's been on a losing streak since then. But still, even if she retires on that losing streak, people are going to remember her for that go plata submission. Number 1 craziest submission by a female fighter of all time on this list. Okay, so that's it. list of top 5 craziest submissions in women's mixed martial arts history. That's my opinion, at least anyway. Let me know yours in the comments down below. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.